Hello friends, how are you doing? Day 422 coming in today. Oh my gosh, finished day 3 of Tony Robbins Breakthrough Challenge for 2022. And I'm just going to share with you my notes and what I learned, and hopefully some of it will be able to help you in some way, shape, or form. And so today was actually, the topic was creating your own economy. So in other words, it's about finances. All right. And so, he started off with saying that we are all equal in souls, but we're not equal in the marketplace. And that is very true, my friends. Uh, we are all human beings. Nobody is worth more than anybody else. We are all equal when it comes to our soul and who we are as human beings. However, in the marketplace, it is guided by different principles. Okay, so are you living those principles in the marketplace to be able to earn the type of finances that you're looking for? Okay, so he actually had a couple people come on and share their story, and so it was Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx, and her husband, a partner, is just Jesse Itzler, and he was an entrepreneur. And so they kind of just shared their story in terms of how they got their start, how they started the business, how they got to where they're at today, and a lot of it's just it's just the biggest thing I got from was just the mindset, right? And a couple things that Sarah, I'll start with Sarah. She actually shared that one of the things that really helped her when she was young was her dad helping her reframe what failure is. And so after, I think it's like every week or every day, he would ask her, all the children, say, "Hey, what did you fail at this week?" And because that's kind of not normal, right? Most of the time we think failure is a bad thing. And so growing up, if we think the outcome is what's most important, we attach so much importance on that versus, did we try, right? And at the end of the day, when it comes to entrepreneurship, the most important thing is actually making things happen. It's not about the end result per se right away, but her dad helped her reframe what the definition of failure is. So instead of failure is not getting the outcome you want or making the type of money you want, failure was not trying. And so with that mindset in place, guess what? It allowed her to actually go for things. I forget the example she shared, but she tried something. She says, "Hey, Dad, I tried this today at school, and I failed. That was horrible." And he's like, "High five!" And what a great way to raise children, or to raise anybody, really, is that to have them celebrate them trying something. Because you know what? How do you become successful at anything? Is by going through a lot of failures. And just because you failed at something doesn't mean that you are a failure. It just means that you're on the right path, really. Because if you're not failing, you're probably not trying. If you're not trying, you're giving yourself a 0% chance of actually becoming successful in your life. And so failure is a part of creating the life that you want. Okay? And she also talked about, school. They taught her what to think, but her growth work, her personal growth, actually taught her how to think. And again, go back to critical thinking. It is so important. She talked about, she was selling fax machines, and a certain point in her life where she's like, this is not fulfilling to me. This is not why I'm here on this earth. And, she was open. She wanted to change some things, but she had to wait a little bit. Right? The idea didn't come to her. And she said that the universe has its own timeline. And even though we may want something now, it may not come right now. Because maybe we're not prepared. And so that's why you have to do the work now to prepare yourself for the opportunities that will inevitably arrive. And Tony also added that the universe sometimes is waiting because it wants to know, are you committed to your goal, your dream, or whatever it is that you want? Okay? And it was interesting, her story on getting to Neiman Marcus first. She's like, she didn't know how things worked. Because people are like, how did you get your stuff into Neiman Marcus? And she's like, I called them. And everyone else is like, what do you mean you just called them? Like, because usually it would take 7 years to talk to the buyer. But she didn't know that. She just went for it. Again, being oblivious and sometimes being ignorant will actually help you. But if she didn't choose to act and try something, she would never have gotten that opportunity. And so she was very bold. She definitely she made stuff happen. She took some risks, but they were calculated risks, and she pushed some boundaries, if you will, because Neiman Marcus is a higher end place, right? And things are supposed to be done a certain way. But she was just a young girl, entrepreneur, just trying to make things happen, trying to ensure her success, right? She didn't leave it up to somebody else to actually make her company a success. Even though she got into stores, she showed up 2 years at each of those stores every single day, trying to create something and get more exposure, right? Instead of having her own one section of the store, she made sure that it was in different departments. And again, she's just ensuring that she was successful. And when certain people were like, oh, we got to get her out of here, she's not following the rules or she's not getting permission. The head guy looked at, okay, what is this product? $20 product. How much has she sold? And he looked up, $1 million. Wow, $1 million? That's like what's that, 50,000 units. So he's like, you know what? Whatever she's doing, just let her do her thing because she's getting results, right? And she said, you know what? Sometimes it's more important to ask for forgiveness than for permission. And as an entrepreneur, guess what? A lot of times, that's what you gotta do. You gotta figure things out, And after 21 years, guess what? She sold a part of her business, not the whole one, but a part of her business for $1.2 billion. Amazing success story. On top of that, spit my lip. On top of that, when she sold a part of her stake, she decided to reward her employees who have been with her through thick and thin, ups and downs, because they were, she started in 2001 21 years, so early 2000s, gone through the boom, the tech boom, the the real estate bubble, 911, pandemic, right? So lots of ups and downs, right? Challenges. But she rewarded them by giving them each a trip to anywhere in the world they wanted and $10,000 cash to spend however they want on the trip. And so, wow, how generous, how amazing. Such an inspiring story. And it's just a reminder that, at the end of the day, we have to make things happen. The individual have to take responsibility, right? And of course, you got to take risks. Like, you have to take risks. That's why it's so important to reframe what is failure, right? Is failure bad? It is, if that's the story you tell yourself. But failure is required. So might as well reframe that story and say, you know what? Every time I fail at something or trying something, I'm actually learning something so I can create that success. And then her partner, Jesse Itzler, he started a private jet company without any privates, without any business knowledge, and without any know-how or clients. And, but what he did was he asked himself, where would people who could afford this service be? And so he actually went to those places and started talking to people, right? He went to this convention, right? And a lot of silicone tech people, I think it was TED Talk or whatever. And, he went to a bakery or a coffee shop where all the attendees would be during the break. He bought up all the muffins in the morning. And when people bought a coffee and a muffin, they're like, oh, sorry, we're sold out of muffins. And then he would say, hey, I have a muffin, that you can have. And then he would talk to them. Again, he just made things happen, right? And it's just a reminder, again, we got to make things happen. We can't wait for success to attack us. You know what I'm saying? And he also, he talked about his word of the year was soul. And that's the same word he's had for the last 3 years. And essentially what he means by that, he's putting everything he has into anything that he does. And so, and that's why he said that Sarah was so successful with Spanx, because she cared so much. She put so much into herself and she served her clients. And that's what Jesse did with his private jet company. Instead of just renting a private jet, he actually went above and beyond and served his client, right? He checked out all the visa stuff. He looked ahead of time in terms of hotels, concierge service. Like, he really served his clients, And so again, like really, these are a lot of notes for me to remind myself what I need to do to be successful. And you talk about how pressure is a privilege. And so, what is your relationship with pressure? Is it a positive one or a negative one? Because again, pressure is what is needed to actually grow us. Because think about when do you grow the most? And typically, it's in times of discomfort and pressure, and it's uncomfortable. We don't want to, but those are blessings in disguise, my friends. Those are blessings because they will help you grow and help you get to where you want to be. Okay, and if you think about it, it's the pressure is always temporary. Everything's temporary, and so just remember that. Okay, a couple things here. Combating self-doubt. They shared that to be able to with the self-doubt, everyone has self-doubt. Even now, as billionaires, they said, they make what they're doing bigger than themselves. Okay, and so same thing with public speaking, right? Why do people get afraid or jittery? It's because they probably think about more with themselves than serving the people that they're talking to. And so, like even like now, like I'm just whatever about me. It doesn't matter. I can be a silly whatever. But why? Because I'm focusing on trying to add value to you. I'm trying to help you by sharing something that I think is valuable. Okay, and a couple things that they actually shared is that a rule that they have is they're never too busy for the kids, and if they are, it's because their life-work balance is not healthy. I'm like, that's actually quite an important point. And there was a survey of some sort saying that the biggest regret of successful people after they've done the survey is that they gave up what they had for what they wanted. And so if you have, well, I think what he means is like whatever is important in your life right now, don't give that up to try and go for something else. Like if you have a great family, memories, health, so forth, don't give that up to go for something else. And then when you get what you thought you wanted, you don't have the people or the health to actually enjoy it, right? So it's a certain balance, and they talked about you got to be strategic about that, and it's a process to actually figure that out, to find the right balance, right? And they talked about how important it is to pick the right partner. If you're a dreamer and your partner's not a dreamer, yeah, it's gonna be a tough one, right? It's gonna be a lot of resentment there probably. Because they said, hey, if they didn't have the right partner, like if they didn't understand what they're going through and willing to make some, not necessarily sacrifices, but support them, it would have been really tough to actually stay together as a couple. And then Tony, go back to Tony, he talked about proximity is power, okay? It goes back to, again, when Jesse was building his private jet company, he got around the people that could be his clients, right? They were at a different level than where he was. And another thing, if you ever thought about starting a business, the truth is you can actually start any business right now if you choose to, right? Sole proprietorship. But here's the thing. If you actually want to start a business, first step that Tony talked about is you got to think like an owner, even when you're an employee. And what does that mean? That means, well, when you're working with somebody, think like an owner. Like if you owned the company, what would you do? How would you show up? And that's similar to like even with my team with Casino Royale. Guess what? I'm the operator. I'm the boss, if you will. But I always give people opportunities, right? I'm like, well, if you want to be trusted as a leader, right? Then show up as a leader, right? Like don't wait to be told what to do every single time. You know what to do. Just step up, right? Think like an owner, and eventually you'll be one. So wherever you're at, if you ever thought about starting a business, just wherever you're at right now, in whatever job you have, act as if you're the owner. Mentally is what I mean, right? Like, don't overstep any boundaries. But that's a first good step. Okay, and then there's three things that when Tony gets into a business as a partner, he asks three things. Number one, or he thinks about three things. Number one, who is my ideal client? And what's important is you should know more about them than they do themselves, right? So you work towards that. Number two, what is your irresistible offer? What is something that goes above and beyond what anybody is expecting when it comes to business? And when you do that, you're starting to build a brand. Okay? So, for example, Domino's, right? Their irresistible offer is you'll get your pizza delivered to you within 30 minutes or less. Otherwise, it's free. That's a pretty good offer. Yeah, that guarantees you're going to have a hot pizza within half an hour. Otherwise, it doesn't cost you anything, which is a pretty good deal, right? And so, and then number 3, how to over deliver. Give more than what people expect, right? And you don't just do that one time to get one sale, but you have to do that consistently, right? Again, it's part of just building the brand, right? When people know that you always over deliver, guess what? You build a name for yourself. You build a reputation for yourself. And at the end of the day, the most important thing is become more valuable. Okay? Learn new skills. And if you're ever going to be the owner, guess what? Your mindset will determine how successful you're going to be as a business owner. And so learn new skills, learn new mindsets, get around people that are further ahead than you. Again, proximity is power. Okay? And then, of course, immersion, right? Anything you want to learn, immersion is the most powerful way. Why? Because you're around, and that's why mastermind groups are so powerful, right? You're around people who are further ahead or, want to move in the same direction, and you guys can give feedback to each other and grow together. For me, that's always freaking powerful, and I've been a part of many, organized many, and it's always an amazing experience. Uncomfortable, yes, but I'm not alone. And so same thing for you guys, right? Whatever you want, build a mastermind, but first and foremost, build you. Oh, all right, friends. That's it for day 3 for my notes. Tomorrow is day 4 on relationships, so I'm looking forward to that as well. But I hope some of what I shared with you is going to be helpful. And if you ever thought about starting a business or already have a business, those 3 questions in itself hopefully can help you actually grow your business. I definitely will be focusing on all those things as I grow my businesses. So anyway, hope you all have a phenomenal week. It is Thursday night, and I will talk to you soon. Ciao.